All right, Isaac Segundo here. Welcome to my channel. In this video, I want to talk about tab navigation. So I'm going to do a little demo for you guys and show you how it works. A lot of developers do it differently. I know I've done it differently in the past, but I think I found an easier way to, at least for me, of how to do the tabs. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, when you have tabs, tab navigation, sorry, I wanted to move that out the way. When you have tab navigation, you have a tab, and based on what tab you selected, the controls associated with that tab will appear. So I'm going to make it very, very basic and very, very simple first, so that you can see how it works visually in a different way. So let me go ahead and add some. I'm going to add text labels here. And I'm just going to call this tab 1. And then I'm going to give it a background color. So I kind of know that. Let me come here. Fill. So that's my background color. And then I'm going to make the text white so we can see it. Maybe add 15. Make it bold, and let's center it. All right, so that's my first tab, and let me just copy this and paste it 2 more times. All right. Okay, so this is gonna, let's change this to tab 2. Excuse me, tab 2. And let's change this one to tab 3. Tab 3, oops, not 13, 3. Okay, now let's add some containers. Now, when you add the containers will represent what controls would be in the container, and that's the benefit of using containers if you're not familiar with containers. So I can have this container, and then I can add different controls in here. You know, text, any of these different controls in that container. And when you do anything to that container, as far as visible, you can hide the whole container. Instead of in the past, before containers, you used to have to go and hide each of the individual controls. So the container will just control everything that's in that container. So let me just add a label. And let's call this tab 1 controls. So I just want to make this really simple so you can understand. So tab 1. Okay, so then let's give it a color. Fill. I'm going to give it this color. And let's control our text again. Let's make it bold. Let's give it a big number. Make it bold, and let's center it. All right. So now that we have that control, now let's go and create 2 more different controls. So let's come copy that. So copy, paste. Make sure you don't paste while the control is selected, because it'll just paste it inside the control. Paste. All right. Okay, and let's call this tab 2 controls. And I'm doing it this way so that you guys can see. It'll make a lot more sense. So now another thing I want to do is I want to add some buttons. So let me come down here and add 2 buttons. So let's add a button. Let's add another button. So this button will say next, and this one will say previous. Okay, and then I'm gonna let's create a variable. So the way I do this is I go to my tab, and on the onVisible property, I come in here and I do a update context, and current tab by default will be 1. So that's my current tab. Now what you want to do is, what we're going to do is on this next, we're going to, so by default, when we come to the page, the current tab will be set to 1. So it'll be the first tab. So when they click next, what we want to do is we're going to go to the next tab. Next tab. But then when we get to this last tab, we want this next to be disabled. And if they're on the first tab, we want this previous button to be disabled. So the way that we do that is we're going to come here, let me go to the previous tab, and we're going to say, let's go to the display mode. Let's go to display mode again. Let's try that display mode. And so in display mode, we're going to say if current tab is equal to 1, let's make it disabled. So let's say display mode, and we're going to make it disabled. Okay. Let's come to our next, and we're going to go to the display mode for this one as well. And we're going to say if the tab is 3, do that. All right. Now another thing we're going to do is when they click select, so for the on select property of our next button, we're going to come here, we're going to say on select. Let's go to on select. On select. And we're going to say update context current tab plus 1. Yep. And we're going to come here to previous, on select, current tab minus 1. Oops. Current tab. Minus 1. Okay. Let me add a label real quick. Let me add a quick label so we can see what current tab is. So we're going to say current tab. And let's do this. Current tab. All right. So let's preview this. Well, let's go to another screen first, and let's come back. And as you can see, because the onVisible property kicked in, so let me click, and you can see the previous is disabled. Now let's go next. See how it's changing to 3, and then now this is disabled. All right, now, let's change the color of these so you can see that as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the fill property of, I'm on the fill, okay. And I'm going to say if current tab equal to 1, let's do RGBA. Let's see, 991394441. Let's close it. All right, it's green. So let's see what happens. So if we do next, it's not, okay, so as you can see, it's not on tab 1 anymore. If we go back, it's on tab 1, current tab. All right. So let's click on that. Let's grab this here. And we're going to use the same formula for the fill property of the other ones. So let's come to fill, paste. And let's say 2. Oh, my thing just froze. Did it freeze? Okay, for some, oh, there it is. Now it's letting me select. That was weird. Okay, so let's go to 3. Fill. And let's do the same thing. Paste. Except we're going to say 3. So as you can see, is the current tab is what's controlling what is selected. And we're using the next and the previous to increment the current tab. So if we come here and we say next, as you can see, this is moving. Next. Disabled. Next. Previous. You know, so it's, as you can see, it's subtracting 1. The next is adding 1, so it adds 1. And because it adds 1, each of these controls are checking to see if current tab is equal to 1, 2, or 3. Next, previous, okay? Now let's go back. Now let's go to these tabs here. Let's go to the tab up top, tab. And now what we're gonna do is, now we're gonna do the same thing with these rectangles that represents our tabs. So we're gonna come in here and we're gonna say if, and I hope you guys are getting the idea, current tab equal to 1. And if it's not, let's give it a different color. Let's give it like a grayish color. RGBA 237, 237, 237, and let's say 1. And close it. Okay. So now, because it's 1, now let's see what happens when we move off of that 1. Well, let me do this. We'll see when we do these other ones. So come here. Let's click fill. And let's change this to 2. And watch what happens when we change it to 2. See that? It gets grayed out. Let's come to tab 3. Okay. So as you can see, all we're doing is checking, okay, which tab, we're checking for the tab number. And if it is that tab number, then we control the colors. So let's come here. Previous is disabled. Let's go to next. See? Let's add another one. See? So now, obviously, I just did this for example purposes to show you exactly how it works, so you can see it. You can kind of see visually the numbers and how you can traverse and move through each of the tabs. But in a real world scenario, you want to do it. You want to control the visibility. So if you click on the control, I want to make sure I click the control. Okay. So all we have to do now is just come to the visible property. And then all we're going to do is we're going to say if, as you all know, current tab is equal to 1, show it. Let's make it visible. Else, false. All right, so it's showing. Because it's current tab 1, it's showing. Now let's go grab this and do the same thing for these other ones. So let's go to visible. And let's change this to 2. come here. Actually, I see what I did wrong. Let's do this. I selected the text inside of the label inside of the container and not the container itself. So let me remove it off of that. Let me say true. Okay. And I need to select the actual container and then go to my visible. Paste. There you go. All right. And then let's come to here, select the container, visible. Then let's say 3. Okay. All right, now let's see what happens. Let's run this. Next. So that this current tab is where the power is. This is what's controlling what we make to be visible and what we make to show. So previous. So now, obviously, what we really want to do is we can do something like this. I gotta make sure I select the actual container and not the text inside. You can do this. Do something like that. Okay. And then we can come here. Do the same thing. Let's come down. I think I hit it over here. I think you all are getting the idea now. And then let's get the container and do the same exact thing. And come here. Let's grab this and extend the whole way. All right, let's see. So now, see that? Now I don't have it exactly, I mean I can, but you guys get the idea. So previous, next, and you can also do the same thing with the modern controls as well. I just did this to kind of show you, but essentially we have to learn how to use these variables, and that's what is controlling everything, you know? So when we come to the screen, if we're on a different screen, you know, so for example, if I go here and I come back, because of this on visible, it defaulted to the tab. Now, what if, let me play this. What if when we click on the tabs, we want the tab, you know, we want this to be clickable as well. How do we do that? So first, let's come here again. We're gonna, on this tab, let me go to my visible first and grab that little piece of code. I'm gonna grab this. You know, so let me close this down. So when they select this, we want to go to our on select, and we want to say we want to do that. We're gonna come here, do the same thing, that, except I might as well just select both of these. Okay, do this. Oh, never mind. Update context to 2. We're gonna come here, on select, and update that to 3. All right, let's see what happens. So 2, see, tab control 2, current tab is 2, 3, and the next is disabled. See, 1, 2, 3. Now, if you're wondering how come there's not a, where's my little arrow? Let's fix that as well. I'm sure you all know how to do that. But if not, you know, for my beginners. So what we want to do is, we want to place an icon over this, because when you hover over an icon, that's how you get the arrow to show. As you can see, it's not showing here. So we want to give the indication that, you know, you can actually click on this. So let's go back, and sorry this video is a little bit long, but that's okay. I hope you're learning something. Let's click on icon, and then let me choose an icon. Let's go with this copy one. So we're gonna come here, and before I do that, I want to say copy. All right. Stretch it out the length of the tab, and then we're going to come down to our color, and we're going to say transparency. Which isn't working. What's going on? So let's do that again. Fill. That's weird. Oh, I'm sorry. we want the actual, this right here. The color, not the fill. There you go. And then for the on select, we put that on there, 1. And then let's actually copy that control. Let's put that here. Change that to 2. And let's come here and say 3. All right, let's go back. See that current tab is 2. You see the little pointy finger now. Gives us the indication that we can click on it. Previous is disabled. Let's come to next. We're adding 1 to the current tab because the current tab is this here, and this current tab is checking if it's 1. If it's 1, then you do everything, you know, you do the colors and whatever. All right, now I hope that made sense. I'm also going to create a blog, and I'm going to post a blog as well. Now, for you, here's your homework. I have homework from you, that's right. So what I want you to do is, you see how the tab, the word tab 2, tab 3, tab 1, it's kind of faint, you can't really see it. Change that color to black. So go through this same exercise that I've done and change that color to black. If you go through this exercise, it helps your understanding, and this idea gives you ideas on other different functionalities as well. So work on this. Hope that helps. Please like and subscribe to my channel. You know, liking the videos and subscribing, it helps the algorithm. So I would really appreciate it. If you found any value in this, I would appreciate a like. Thank you. Bye.